So let's add yet some more functionality to the address book. Because what we have now, we could add new cards, we can delete cards, we can actually search with the search field. But what I would like to have is also, I would like to have one card where I have the list of all names sorted alphabetically, and then I can maybe hunt in that list and click on that list to go to the correct card. So how can we do that? Well, first of all, we need a new card. So let's go in the object menu and create a new card. And now it is important that I am at the first card, because I want to create this card as card number 2. So if you're not in the first card, go first in the view menu or click Command Control N, and then create a new card. So here I would actually like to use this scrolling list field. It's the same field as we have used prior, but with a couple of different settings. So you can reset another field to become a list field. But what is specific with this one? Well, if I open up the property inspector for this one, it says that it has the list behavior, and that makes it like this. When I run this one, I can select one line at a time like this. So let's name this to name list like this. And now I would like to fill this with all the names. Maybe we should increase the font size for this a bit. Let's bring this one up to 20 maybe. So we have nice and big names. So now I would like to fill this with all of the names. And how and when should we do that? Well, we can't do that when we open the stack, because if we add more addresses, then we need to reset this. But maybe if it's fast enough, we could actually do it as soon as we arrive at this card. And let's try this one. At the moment, what I've done in my address book is that I have added a lot of addresses. So at the moment I have approximately 500. I have 502 to be exact, I guess. Anyway, so let's go back to this card here, and let's bring up the card script for this one. And in this video there might be some code that you don't really fully understand at the moment, but just carry on and I will come back to coding in later videos. So first of all, when should we do this? Well, there is 2 messages that are sent to a card before it is, well, one is before it is shown, and one is kind of when it is shown. And the first one is pre-open card, and the second one is open card. So let's use this pre-open card. Now I missed that one. Pre-open card like this. And what should we do now? Well, we should loop through every card and grab the name field of every card and create a list out of that one. So we need to repeat in some way and go through, and there is a command that is called repeat like this. And what we can do now is that we can do a repeat, and we could do repeat with. And when you do a repeat with, then you use some kind of variable that will be called the iterator, and usually we call the first iterator I, based on iterator as a shortcut for this one. And then we write equals, and then we say 1, and then, well, how long should we go? Well, we write 2, and then, well, what we need is the number of cards. So that means that if I add cards, then the number of cards will always return the maximum number of cards. Okay, so the problem here now is that not all cards in this stack might be address cards. So how can we know if a card is an address card? Well, what we can do is that on all address cards, we have this group here. That is, if I double click on this one, we see that the name for this one is called address. So I could test first if we have a group address. So we can do that in LiveCode. There is a built-in command that is called exists, and then we say group address. Then, so we only would like to collect the name field if the group address exists. I could of course instead of just go directly on the name field, but let's use this one. And then we do like this. We take put field name, it should be in quotes, name. but then we need to add something more. We need to add of card I, because the first run in this loop I will be 1. So then it says put the field name of card 1, and then of card 2, and then of card 3, and then of card 4, and so on until we have run through all the cards. So put field name of card I, and then we would like to add, because the list should be 1 name per line, so we need to add a return here, or a cache return, or whatever, but we could just write the word return, and then we put that after t names. And this after construction is kind of the same as put something into, but into always replaces the content, after puts the content after the current content. So if you already have some content, this will be added at the end of this one. So now when this repeat is done, we could use put t names, and that is just a kind of a box where I put all the names into field name list. And this of me we don't need at the moment. So now when we have this one, okay, we have that on pre-open card. So let's try this one out. Let's go to the first card. And now let's go forward to the next card and see how long this will take. I have 502 addresses in this one. And that didn't happen at all. Or is it still running? Well, what happened, I realized that if exist group address, I also here need to add of card I, because otherwise it will be still on the same card. So let's click apply again. And now let's do a new try. Let's go back and let's go forward. And that was pretty quick. But of course we need to sort them. And if I do like this, before I put these, I can do the sort. So let's do sort t names. And let's try this again. Go back and go forward. And now you see that they are sorted, but by default, name lists are usually sorted by the last name or the surname. So how can I ensure that I sort on the kind of last name or the last word on each line? Well, I can actually do like this, by last word of each. That means that I should search by the last word of each line. So let's click apply and let's try this one again. And now we see we have all the items, but now we see that Alice should be the first one in this one, and Nancy should be after. So we need to do the sort first by the last word and then by the first word in some way. Can we do that? Yes, LiveCode actually keeps the internal order. So if we just first sort t names, because that will sort them by the first name, and then if we sort them by the last name, then it will keep the internal order of the first names. So let's try this one and go back and go forward. And now you see we have Alice Adams, Brian Adams, Kevin Adams, Nancy Adams, Sandra Adams, and now they are sorted in a good way. So now we have this field, and now we need to add also another field up here, where I would like to have the possibility to write something, and then it should hunt that down in this field. So let's bring this one up and let's name this as search again. And now I will actually don't use the find command as we did before in our prior search field, because that kind of hunts for the text everywhere and maybe not on this card even. So I will actually first use a don't search on that one, and I will use a don't search on that one. So I have don't search on both of them, and then when I change the text on this one, let's edit the script for this one. Now it is field, it didn't take the name, search, like that. Something happened there, I probably forgot to, yeah, anyway, now we have it. So when the text changed, is there some kind of event for that one? So I can, or a key press, or whatever. Well, there is actually on text changed. So I can use that one. That will fire as soon as the text is changed in this one. And then in LiveCode there is a command called line offset. And that hunts for the first line where it will find the text. And you should add 2 parameters. And that is 2 data into that function. And the first is the text that you would like to hunt for. And that is of course the text of me. And the next part you would like to search is the text you would try to, where you would like to find it. And that is in field name list. This one, the line offset, will return a number if it finds a number. So it will kind of return 0 if it doesn't find anything, or else it will return 1 for the first line and 3 for the third line, and so on and so forth. So we could use the put command and put that into a box that I will call t line. Then wouldn't it be nice if we could just select line t line of field name list like this? Yeah, well, let's try, and let's write J, and now you see, well, it actually does work in some way. We do have a problem. That is, now you see that it moves the focus, the select command moves the focus to that field. So now I need to click there again, and then I can hit O, and then I need to click again and hit H, and so on and so forth. And that is not good. So that one we need to fix. And how can we do that? Well, we can ensure that it actually selects, put the marker at the end of the text in this field again. So we could actually do a select after me. And after, put the selection after the current. So if you add a field, it will add the marker at the end of that field. And me is this field where the script is running. So that means that put the marker or the insertion point at the end of this field. So now we could try again, and I could continue, write Johnson, and there I found the first Johnson, like this. Now, the final thing I would like to do is that if I, maybe not if I click, but maybe if I double click within this list, it should go to that card. And now we might have a problem, because if we have a couple of, let's say that we had several Scott Jones in our address book, then which one should we select? Well, if we had 3 of them here after each other, then of course if I select number 3, it should hunt down number 3 among our cards. But we have another problem here, and that is that our cards are not sorted. We could do that in LiveCode, and it's quite easy to sort the cards to keep them sorted. But we haven't done that one yet. So what we would like to do now is that I would just like to hunt for that card when I double click on this one. So let's bring up the script for this one. And okay, what event should I use now? Well, in my list here, you might not have this list, but it selects, it proposes mouse double up. So maybe we should try that one on mouse double up. And what do we want to do? Well, first of all, we would like to find the text that is selected. And you can do that by using put the selected text, and that is in one word, of me into t name. So let's put that in a box that we call name. And the t in front stands for, this is a temporary variable. That means that it will just live as long as the mouse double up is running. But I will come back to that later, as I said in the beginning. So now I will actually use something that we haven't looked into before, and that is a lock screen for visual effect. That means that if I do something, it will not show that until I unlock the screen, and I also lock it for visual effect. And if you follow the first video where I downloaded 9.6.2 release candidate 2, or 9.6. Let's see what we have here about LiveCode now, because I had to go back, and now this one appeared on my other screen here. Yeah, so it's 9.6.1 in this version, because the 9.6.2 release candidate 2 had some kind of regression error where the visual effects stopped working if you're on a Mac and running Big Sur at least. Therefore I needed to revert back to 9.6.1. But now we could do the find t name, and then we can unlock screen with visual effect, and then if you hunt down visual effect in the dictionary, you will see that there are a couple of effects. Here I would just like to use a dissolve, and then I would like to use that very fast. And if this isn't fast enough, you can actually change, there is a parameter that you can set for the stack that will turn this one even faster if you would like to. Okay, so let's try this one. Let's click on Carolyn Kim, and way and behold, we went to the card for Carolyn Kim. So with that, we have added a lot of extra functionality.